Oh, we're in this. What's going on, everybody? Russ is running a little bit late, so I didn't want to start late, so I'll just pull him in as soon as he's around. But yeah, we're here.
Sorry, I'm trying to find the right angle. I apologize, everybody.
Yeah, no worries. Well, welcome to the first more official Reptile Nerd Radio thing for the people who are coming over from Instagram. Thanks for following us over here. Hopefully this turns out better than Instagram does, better quality and everything. There was something I wanted to say and I forgot. Oh, so we usually will do these every Sunday around 4 p.m. Pacific time. So that's still the goal, is to do that, but just to do it over here. We won't be doing one next weekend because the Anaheim Reptile Super Show is next weekend, and I'm not going to try and do this from a reptile expo. So we won't have one next week, but after that, we'll be getting back at it. So if anyone's at Anaheim, I'll be volunteering at the US Arc booth on Saturday. So come say hi. You should also just stop by the booth just because it's the US Arc booth, regardless of whether or not I'm there. Say hi to the people, talk to them. They're like Phil and Vanessa are both really awesome people. That's the only ones that I've spoke to. But yeah, if you see me wandering around the show or you see me at the booth, come say hi. Always fun to meet people. So yeah, I'll pull Russ in whenever he gets here. But let's just get right into it, man. So for the people who don't know you, I feel like everyone that's in the chat already knows you, but for anyone who doesn't know you, who's Jordan? What's Heartland Reptiles? Give us
I'm Jordan Carpenter, and Heartland Reptiles is my little attempt at improving things for reptile keepers and my own little business venture. Working on dwarf and super dwarf retics. The enclosures you see, I actually manufacture those and have some other sizes coming as well. It'll be for sale, and just started YouTube. Got my first video up late last night, so trying to catch on with you and Russ getting YouTube going.
Well, hopefully you have a better time going about it than we do, because I'm terrible at this. This is so confusing to me. And the sad part is it's actually really easy, but it still somehow manages to confuse me. So,
well, I might probably be in the same boat. I'm just uploading. I haven't done any live stuff yet. So,
yeah, I seen the first thing you just put out. So it's exciting stuff, man. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about the enclosures at some point, because I think it's really awesome. And there's definitely we can always use more innovation for whether it's, enclosures, UV lighting, whatever, just anything husbandry related. There's never like a shortage of need for new innovations and people trying to do new things.
And it all goes together, right? Like, my enclosures aren't the end all be all solution for everything. A specific light isn't the end all be all for everything. Certain substrate, but you start putting it all together, and that's where you really get really good husbandry, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think experimenting with stuff too, just trying something, see how it works, and even if it works all right, try something else. It might work better, I think the goal, for me at least, and it seems like it's a fairly popular thing within a lot of people now, is just always trying to learn and always trying to progress. And we need that, I think it's good for us, and I think it's really good for the animals. So
yeah, you and I have talked about that. I mean, the day either of us stop learning, the other one's going to tell us to hang it up, and that's an agreement we have. So you're exactly right. You got to be able to keep learning and learn from any and everybody that you can, whether it's what to do or what not to do, frankly.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's been a big thing. And I mean, I'm nowhere near where I want to be either, but I'm always moving forward at least, and that's the important part, you know.
Yeah.
And by the time I get to where I might be able to do what I think I really want to do, there might be something else that I think is better, and I'll go with that.
Yeah. But hey, that's the beauty of it, is it doesn't have to be, you know, it can be flexible. You can bend and twist with what works best and what you find.
Yeah. So you have, well, I guess why don't you go ahead and tell the animals that you have?
Well, I have 9 dwarf and super dwarf reticulated pythons. I have a little hog nose, and then I've got a dog and 2 cats and an almost 3-year-old. But and I have a clutch of baby dwarf retics. I have 22, knock on wood at this point, strong and healthy babies. They've been out of the egg for a week and a few days. Hey, there's Russ.
What's up, guys?
Hey, buddy.
There he is.
But yeah, I think there's probably 7 or 8 that have shed out, and I'm going to start getting them out into individual tubs and start doing individual pictures and labeling and get them all listed up. See how many good homes I can find. I've already found a great home for a male. It's People's Reptile Rescue. I've known Katie and you know, of her husband for a long time through reptiles, and they have a rescue, and they're going to buy one of them from me to become an outreach animal and an ambassador. So I'm really excited about that.
Now, to me, like, my opinions have changed a lot over time, but I've definitely gotten to the point where the thing that I most would like to be involved in is education, and you know, above anything else. So to have baby snakes, and the first one that sells is to somebody who has the intention of using that for educational purposes and outreach programs and stuff. That's pretty awesome, you know.
Yeah. I felt like it was a very good kickoff for the first animal leaving Heartland Reptiles, so to speak, to go to an outreach program and an animal ambassador. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. So I've been getting to see all kinds of behind the scenes baby snake stuff. Well, I mean, a few of us in here have, and I know now you're starting to show more and more of it publicly, but I know we're all super excited for you for a variety of reasons, but I know how you feel, and I've gotten to have these conversations in private, but what has this been like for you, from getting these animals as babies, raising them for years, and now you have babies from your babies, you know, what has that meant to you so far?
Oh man, I'm a total cheeser. Like, that's the biggest reason there hasn't been a lot of public is I either have to mute myself out because I talk to them like, you know, somebody would a newborn infant. But no, you're exactly right. Having Mila since she was a baby, and now having her babies that, you know, there was 23 eggs, 22 of them developed, and all 22 of them came out. To have them all be healthy and look good, it's been awesome. I mean, that circle, you know, my watch drives me. But yeah, it's been amazing just seeing life full circle, and these little babies, man, I forget how small the babies are. You know, you see them all the time. I have some 1-year-olds that are really, really small, and I even have one that's, you know, 4 months old maybe, but newborn babies are a special thing. I got to have one of them actually come out of its egg into my hand, and I think I sent you all that video, but that was pretty awesome. Yeah, I saw it was out, and I kind of tickled the egg a little bit, and it came out of the egg and over the lip of the tub and right into my hand, and that was an unbeatable experience. That and my son getting to see him and wanting to touch him, you know, just shy of 3 years old, that's the coolest part of it all.
Yeah, for sure. I think he was more excited than you in some of the videos.
Yeah, he really likes to touch him, but he's always a little bit gun shy to do. But today he actually, like, you know, had his palm out and let him rest on his hand, so he truly held one of the babies today before we hopped on, so that was pretty cool. So he's making progress, but
yeah, that's awesome, man. It doesn't get much better than that, you know.
right.
You get to live your dream, and then you're kind of like furthering this next generation of, potential reptile nerds.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he loves it. If he doesn't, I'm not going to force anything, of course. But the way he is now, I don't think it'd take much swaying to get him to stick to it. He seems to really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think if you let him know that there's no fear there, that it's all just misunderstanding, that it'll stick with him regardless.
Right.
I mean, I stepped away from reptiles for 20 years, if not more, and I'm back with a vengeance. So,
Yep. No, you're exactly right. And, with the bigger, especially if I get anything even bigger than I have now.
Hey,
Hey, there we go.
there we go. That's better. Now I'm not a
Yeah.
tiny box in the corner.
Especially if I get anything bigger than I have now, I'm going to teach him effectively, kind of like gun safety. That's how I was brought up. It was just part of life. You learn how to be respectful. You learn how to be safe. Once you know how to be safe and you make sure everyone around you is being safe, there's really no threat. There's nothing to be scared of. You just have to be cognizant and attentive to what you're doing. So if I get anything bigger, that will be the mentality that I impress upon him. And, they're not toys. Excuse me. Of course, they're animals, but
yeah.
just with the strength of him, and he's not even 3, gotta teach that. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think often stuff is just a misunderstanding, and we don't think the same as animals, so we assume that they're angry or they're aggressive or whatever. I know I don't believe that. I've also, I've never dealt with a snake that has a really bad attitude most of the time. So, I mean, I guess I can't say 100%, but I think a lot of times it just comes down to there's something that needs to happen that's not happening, or they're not liking something that's happening or whatever. I think you really just, I don't know. I might be wrong. But I think that really, it just comes down to paying enough attention and just trying different things and seeing what works and, get to where you can, and each animal could be different. You'd have 10 of them and all 10 are different, so especially with retics. But yeah, that's exciting, man. I think the maybe the coolest part of the whole thing is that it's your first clutch and every egg hatched.
Yeah.
So I feel like that doesn't, I mean, I think people who have been doing this for a long time even have issues, and it's one of one, but that's definitely off to a good start, man.
No, I feel very, very lucky and blessed to have had that turnout. When Mila I thought she was ovulating and gravid. I am first time ever palpating anything, so I didn't trust myself. Shortly before she laid, I thought I felt 8 bumps, but I told myself, okay, best case scenario, it's 8, and it's a pair, so maybe I'll get 16. And in my head, I was like 8 to 12, first time breeding. As long as she ends up healthy, over everything, great. But if I got 8 to 12, I'd be pumped. And out come 23, and I was kind of beside myself with that number. And then, having 22 of them develop. The other one it stayed good. It didn't look great, but it didn't go rancid or anything like that either. So I don't know if it was a fertilization. It was one that got dripped on when it was young, early out of her. I don't know if that had something to do with it. But started off lucky. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I mean, part of it's luck, and I think part of it's just that you did everything you could. You tried to get all the information you could before going into it, and then when you were in it, you were still trying to learn. I think that's really, I think that's important. That says a lot. I don't want to take away from your part in it by saying that it's just luck, because
no, I'm with you.
So what was the pairing, and what are the babies?
So the pairing, Mila is a platinum possible het anery, and the male is an anery 100% het purple albino. So hoping that I would be able to prove Mila out anery. Again, being my first clutch, I'm very hesitant to call anything, especially since only, a third of them have shed out so far. But I think I see some anery in there, and some people that I trust their judgment very highly have said that they felt the same way. We'll see how it goes. I'm not going to list anything for sure, but man, if I could get an anery platinum from her to keep back, that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
The percentages are 34.375 Kalatoa and 17.15% Jampea. So they're dwarf. So, I would say from everything that I know, or as little as I know, I would guess they'll probably be about Mila's size as an adult, maybe a little bit smaller. I wouldn't imagine they'd be bigger unless there's an outlier, but.
You must
How
have
big?
sent,
What's that?
sorry, go
How
ahead.
big is
Russ?
Mila?
Mila she's just shy of 9 feet, I would say. She's in an 8-foot long enclosure. She can touch sides with a little bit extra, but I don't know that there's a foot extra. And she's maybe, I don't know, between racquetball and base size around, I would guess. And she's 4. She turned 4 April 1st.
Still, I mean, I would assume she's still going to grow. But I mean, that's still multiple size animal, I think, for most people.
Yeah.
So
I can't remember who it was, but I heard some people talking, and I thought one way they broke it down well was she's a breeder, or quote breeding adult, but she's not a grown adult. I think it's important to separate the two, because I don't think it'd be fair for me to go and tell somebody, hey, this baby came from a snake. She's not even 9 foot yet. You don't have to worry about her getting any bigger. I don't know that for sure. I'd never say that to somebody. So, I'd be hesitant to give somebody a hard, fast number just because of my level of experience. But no, I would say, give her a few more years before I really start saying, okay, I think she's getting close to full grown adult.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's important. And I know when I was getting into keeping snakes again and getting into retics, that was this, just in the last 2 years it's changed, but that was like the thing. Everyone was saying, oh, it'll only get this big, no worries. And it seems like there's been enough of people getting called out about that, and now that's kind of halted a bit, to where people aren't saying, well, this animal's 4 or 5 years old, it just bred, it's not going to grow anymore, so the babies are only going to be this big.
Right.
It's, you're not, I think the idea would be to set up whoever's getting an animal from you with the best possible information for them and the animal. So telling them something that probably isn't true is not a good start,
I would rather overpromise I would rather underpromise and overdeliver. Excuse me. Every time, it's better for everyone that way. I saw Lucas just commented, and he's the one who I was talking about. He calls that stage that they are sexually mature, and then 8+ old he considers an adult. He said his preference, not factual, but the fact or not, I think that's a pretty good analogy, or at least break down the difference a little bit better.
Yeah, I agree. I would like to say that age could even be older, but to be fair, there's not too many people that have retics that are, any much older than 10 years old anymore, it seems like. So, well, I shouldn't say that. There are people. There's just
I've seen an uptick in uptick in people putting up questions, just kind of testing the waters. Can anybody show me a picture of a 10-year-old retic, mainland, super dwarf, whatever? There's really not a whole lot of responses. Now, some people don't want to share their animals. I'm not saying that's all that's out there, but I think waiting until they're older than even what I've before claiming a size is pretty important.
Yeah, definitely. You want to ask something, Russ? You look like you were going to ask something.
No, and I'm trying to pay attention,
Oh, okay.
trying to
Hey,
stay awake.
it looks gorgeous out there, though, man. I wish I was sitting out there instead of in a room.
I don't know, dude. It's kind of hot and humid. It's been raining on and off all day, so the humidity keeps getting higher and higher, and the temperature ain't getting no colder. So it's probably like 90, 92 right now with like 80, 90%.
Dang.
Brutal.
Dang. Never mind. I don't want to be out there, dude. I would die. I couldn't do it.
It's doable. The pool's nearby, air conditioned. We go play ping pong. Pool.
That's cool. So,
Yeah, it's a fun weekend. I prefer being out in nature than being stuck in a house anyway. So
yeah, no, for sure.
not much as far as herps though. Only saw one turtle so far. No frogs. Nice big wolf spider, but that was it.
Yeah, it's good retake weather. Too bad they don't live there. Just climb a tree and find a retake. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I had a fishing rod and a beer. I mean, I have a beer and a fishing rod. It's just the lake here is all infested with scum, so it's not good fishing.
Yeah. Sounds like every lake in California now. So, I want to talk about the enclosures, but I don't want to jump away from the animals too quick. So you have 9, and I'm assuming that Mila was the oldest.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So what's coming up in the future for? I mean, now you gotta deal with getting a bunch of little baby snakes to eat, trying not to hold them 100 times a day. Taking care of the baby snakes. But what's the plans for the future? And I mean, you can include the enclosure conversation in this, but what are you working towards? Like, what's your next step now? What's your goals moving forward?
The goals moving forward, at the forefront of my mind right now is getting the other enclosures finished up in design and manufactured, along with finding good homes for all the babies. I've got a full stack that's in design right now. I'm sorry. The 4 stack is completed, so it'll be just like these, just without the 5th layer, so that it comes in it's just a little bit over 6 foot tall. I think it's like 6 foot 2 1/4. But it can go through a doorway upright versus these you have to actually turn on their side and take them through doors like that. But they both have an arboreal playground, which will mount directly to the side and be 18 inches wide, 2.5 feet deep, just like the stacks, and the whole height of. And you can open up any one of the enclosures or any 2 if you want to do pairings for breeding and give them extra space, climb, and get exercise, and just another option for enrichment. So having those ready, along with 6 foot long or 6 foot wide and 8 foot wide single enclosures, they'll be manufactured in the same method, powder coated aluminum with a full length half depth. Those will all be completed and trying to get those up and ready for the art show. That's the enclosure plan right now. Finding homes for babies and trying to get my YouTube stuff going. So got the kickoff video up, and Adler helped. Actually, Adler did that, and Adler's doing one over the enclosures as well as the animals too. So those will be soon to follow, and just trying to build some content and see how many people I can get to see my enclosures and find any interest.
Apparently, YouTube's the thing. I don't know if you guys knew that, but it's gaining some ground.
You cut out for a second there. Actually, I think you both cut out for a second.
I'm gonna go into the
I
other
made-
room because I get better signal, and that was making it worse.
Okay. Hey Russ, move closer to your internet router.
Oh yeah, let me just go over and find it.
Just climb the tree, man.
Oddly enough, every campsite comes. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Lucas's comment, man. If anybody doesn't know Jordan, he's a really, really awesome guy. And, his passion and his love for the animals is the reason why we've become such good friends. And I think him being able to show that, whether that just be the animals with the enclosures and everything, show that, across multiple platforms, Instagram, YouTube, everything, shows, whatever. I hope it gains traction because there's a lot of really awesome stuff that he's doing. And for myself personally, I can respect somebody for some of what they've done with animals and not particularly be fond of the person, but it's much easier for me to respect somebody who I can respect, them as a human being and what they're doing with the animals. Like you don't want to give your money to somebody who, you have mixed feelings about or whatever. So I'm looking forward to seeing more stuff come out on YouTube. So if anybody is not already, go check Heartland Reptiles out on YouTube.
Thank you. Is that any better? Am I less choppy now?
So far, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So the enclosures that you already have is it's five stacks tall, and what's the dimensions on that? Or you said that's going to be the same as the 4 stack, right?
Yeah, so they're 4 feet wide, 2.5 feet deep, and each enclosure has about 17 inches of usable height inside. Kind of like, a lot of PVC, you're gonna get like an 18-inch enclosure, but that's the outside dimension.
Right.
The insulation in between the layers is what takes up a little bit of that space, but basically it's a 4.5 or 4 by 2.5 by 17 for each one. The overall stack is like 7 foot. Oh, I can't remember now. It's like 7'6" or 7'8". It's short enough to fit inside of a standard 8-foot room. Was the cutoff for it.
And then the 4 stack will be the same, just minus one enclosure.
Right.
And then you're going to be doing single 6 and 8 foot enclosures. What's the dimensions on that, like depth and height on those?
They'll be 6 foot wide by 2.5 foot deep, and then 2.5 usable height inside. So they'll be taller. The logic being obviously bigger animals give a little bit more height, but also you can still stack 3 of them and still only be 6 foot high versus have it, I wouldn't want a huge animal that needs a 6 or 8 foot enclosure 7 feet off the ground just for ease of getting it out. So that's kind of why I did that. They'll also have the portholes so you can attach them to one another. The portholes will be bigger than the stacks, but that way, you could have a 12 foot or put a 6 and an 8 foot or 2 8s, whatever.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. And then is the 8 foot, is it also going to be 2.5 deep and 2.5 tall?
2.5 deep, 2 tall. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's awesome, man. Again, like, I like seeing new innovative ideas. There's also the thing where sometimes it's just hard to get enclosures. Like, there's only a few companies where if you want to get a cage right now, you can get it fairly quick. Some of them takes forever to get an enclosure from them. And then, if down the line you get into even larger sizes of enclosures, you would also be filling the need for things that are upwards of, above 8 foot, because that's also an issue. And, for mainlands, I think it's a bigger issue, but even for a large, dwarf or super dwarf retic, if you could give them more than 8 foot, go ahead and do it. If you're buying a pet animal and you want to give it a huge cage or whatever, I would like to see that. So we definitely need more people doing more things with enclosures.
Well, I've got a few other side ideas that for other kind of add-on type features that would make them even more versatile, more of a kind of a rector set where you can puzzle piece and put pieces together in multiple different layouts to just, make a maze if you want.
Yeah. No, I think that's really cool. I've seen a couple companies that you can kind of attach enclosures together and expand on them. And
Right.
that's really awesome. Instead of having 2 or 3 enclosures through a snake's life, you just add on to it and you don't have another one sitting around that,
Right.
let's be real, for most of us, if we have an empty cage, a snake's going in it.
Yeah.
So we all have a problem.
Yeah.
So I support this one. I'm sorry. I had to pull that up. I support that comment.
I'm not holding my breath for that to happen.
Right?
Hey, sorry. Hey, sir.
Someone came to steal the show.
Yeah.
Hi, introduce yourself. What's your name?
This is Curry. It's named
Yeah.
after Curry Sexton, a K-State football player, and because he's kind of spicy, as you can see. And then my hallway monitor. Where'd you go? The hallway monitor that's always trying to break things up or instigate, depending on his mood.
Sorry. Shepherd?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. He's a handful.
So I just said that we all have a problem. Do you plan on what do you plan on adding more animals? Are you happy where you're at? Because there's most people always want more animals, right? Like all of us, most people want more. There's only a couple people I know who seem to keep a smaller number of animals. So I'm just curious, like, you just bred retics for the first time. Obviously, there's no rush to get anything new, but where would you like to see yourself in the future, in a few years? Do you want to grow more? Or are you happy where you're at? And
I'll grow, but it'll be very slow. I love animals, and I could totally. I mean, I have 4 open enclosures right. Well, 3 once my newest male comes out of quarantine. I've still got 3 4-foot enclosures open in my second stack. So I could definitely fill those without any hesitation. But the next stuff for me will still probably be a really good male for my Sunfire Snow and my Anery Platinum Sunfire Het Purple Girls. Other than that, maybe a holdback or 2 from Mila's clutch, depending on how those shake out after sheds. Maybe some holdbacks from the clutches next year from those really, to me, high-end gals.
Right.
But other than that, I haven't seen anything that I'm like, oh, that's what I need to add to this collection, except for this male that I just got recently. It'll take me longer, but the deep, thick lines on him, especially mixing it in with the snow, it'll take me another generation or 2 to get that all the way back in and get back to where I was. But I think it'll make a huge difference in the way the animals look. So slow process, but I think it'll be worth the patience.
I'm admittedly not great at the way that like, I don't know if it would be like genetics or the way the morphs work in breeding, because there's just too much. But we could always breed my platinum het albino Hosshead Anery male, make some platinum Sunfire Snows. That'd be cool. I think that's how they work, right?
I believe so.
I don't know what that would look like. That would just be a bright ass snow, which is kind of like, would be the opposite of what I'm used to seeing with snows, having kind of like a faded sort of color to them.
Yeah, and that's why I want to get these thick, dark borders that from this male worked in there. He won't be of age next year when these girls are, so that's why he's not the plan for next year. But Yeah, I'm a big fan of bright colors, yellows, greens, and oranges. So the Sunfires, the Platinums, the Anery, and combinations thereof. For me, that's where it's at. I just love it. I mean, wild type is, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful wild type animals out there. But the bright colors, just I'm like a raccoon, you know, shiny things. I got to go to them.
So I really love locality animals, and I keep changing my mind. And I've had things kind of going on in my personal life where I've had to like take a step back and really take a break, basically, from trying to pursue any kind of moving forward with more animals, more things, which isn't a bad thing. But as much as I love locality animals, when you see some of the morphs in person, it's just incredible. Like the color saturation of a retic. Like I fell in love with the first retic I ever handled and ever seen in person. And it was the prettiest snake. It was a simple morph, combo. And I bought him that day.
Yeah, I was just saying, I know who that is.
Yeah. And it's just, I think if you've ever seen a retic in person, it really kind of just blows most things away, man. And there's really something for everyone, with the locality stuff. There's a ton of variation in the mainland localities. There's, the more time's gone on, the more I realize there's a ton of variation in the smaller localities, or the smaller island locality retics. And then there's, such a massive possibility for size range, that could appeal to somebody like me who doesn't mind having a massive snake, or somebody who might be 5 foot tall and wants a snake that's going to stay, under 10 foot or in 8 foot range or whatever. And then with the morphs, man, it's like, it looks like somebody played like Paint Shop on their computer. It's just some of the stuff I've never seen in person. Like, I love Mochino, but I know that the Indo caramels and the orange glows and stuff are like really popular right now. It seems like I've never seen them in person, so it's kind of hard for me to say. Like, I still like Mochino more, but if I see one in person, that might change real quick. Lucas just letting us know what it is.
Mr. Locality himself.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's really something for everyone, man. And I mean, it's hard not to fall in love with them. I can understand if somebody's had a retic and they just decided it wasn't for them, but I feel like the majority of the people who don't like retics just don't have any kind of really experience with them, because they're just fantastic animals. I mean, the sort of like trust and bond and stuff that I have with some of my animals, and I see you, much the same way, and other friends of mine, it's like the family dog, but it's scaly and doesn't bark.
So I don't talk about retics kind of remind me of pitties, like anybody that's been around a pit bull mix, American pit bull terrier, whatever. Anybody that's been around them, like you talk them and you're like, oh, I love them. They're the greatest dogs ever. And then of course there's some people that don't have experience and they're apprehensive because of rumors or whatnot. But I think the retics are, to me, I see a lot of similarities. Some people might get them and they're like, it's not for me. Well, some people might get a pity and it's not for them. Either it's too high energy or they're just not dog people, it turns out, whatever. I think the retics are kind of like that. I mean, I think it's hard to be a snake person and at least not enjoy and appreciate what they are. I mean, they're magnificent.
Yeah, they really are, man. And it's, I don't think everybody needs one, but I think everyone should experience one. If you have a friend who has one, or you're at a show or something and there's somebody who you trust, don't just walk up to the first table you see with a retic if you don't know anything about any of it. But I think it's definitely something that's like worth the experience. Just watch it. Like, that was what made me fall in love with him, was handling a retic for the first time. And like the whole time he was cruising around on my arms and my shoulders, he was like looking at me. Yep. And they look at you like, almost like a I don't want to say like a person would, but they seem to have like a high level of awareness from what I'm used to with snakes. The way they look at you is very personable. It feels like uh, just a very real experience. So Christina had a good question.
Yeah.
I think you can see it. I
Yep.
think I'm doing this right.
Yeah, you're good. Building brand as a breeder. My focus, I mean, I plan to, for lack of a better term, I'd like to be a kind of a boutique breeder, not real big scale or anything like that. I just like to produce really high quality animals that are very beautiful and well taken care of. I'm a big proponent of UV lighting. I love my VivTech bulbs that I've got on all the animals. They've been on them for 7, almost 8 weeks now. And I'm a huge fan of it. I think just providing good husbandry, good care, and if other breeders want to buy my animals, great. If they think that it can help their collection and their projects, great. But I want everything that leaves here to leave at what I would consider pet level socialization. You take it out of the bag, it's fine. It's not apprehensive. I mean, of course, it'll be a new place, but by and large, I want them to be well established and comfortable with people. So anybody can take their snake, interact with it, and have the experience that I have. Because if I can't provide that, then there's no benefit to providing anything. That's why I fell in love with Mila. Is she's wonderful and she just an amazing animal. So I want to be able to provide that to others, so that not only they're enthralled with the beauty of their animal, but the personality and its confidence in itself.
I think that's where I would like to see the future head in a way. There's less breeding animals just to produce the craziest looking thing and less producing animals just for the sake of making money. I really, this is a conversation that I've had with multiple people, and I'm pretty sure that the three of us have had this conversation too. And it's like, I personally, not only would I rather give my money to somebody, but I would also pay more for an animal from somebody who cares for that animal from the time that it hatches or it's born before it comes to me in a better way. So I know there's multiple breeders that I know. Or one of them is right here, actually. Lucas is right here. There's people who are trying to do larger enclosures for babies. I like that idea. I think that's cool. People that maybe keeping in a more naturalistic style enclosure as opposed to something completely sterile, or feeding a variety of prey items as opposed to just whatever size rat or whatever they're on, and then just interacting with the animal, because I have animals that I could tell before they got to me, whoever the person that had them put a lot of time into them.
Mm-hmm.
Unless that animal is just a total sweetheart from the start, you can usually tell the people who put a lot of time and effort into socializing an animal and interacting with it, because the animal seems much more trusting, much more confident, and it makes for a really great experience for somebody who maybe it's their first retic, or maybe it's their first snake and they just love retics and they finally decided that this is what I want, I'm going to get it. And I think it's worth paying more for that. It gives the animal a better life prior to coming to you, and then it gives you and the animal a better chance of success.
Yeah. I agree with you. I plan to market my snakes at what I believe to be a fair market price. And I'm going to make sure that everybody knows what my animals are provided, just for transparency. Sorry, Chad. Lucas threw me off. I'm all discombobulated now.
It's the mustache. It's Lucas's mustache. It
is. It's a wicked stash. But no, what I was going to say is
the plaid of the pants.
Yeah. No, but I plan to offer mine at basically the same market as a comparable animal. And the reason for that is I want to drive instead of trying to use that to drive up my prices, I would rather use the same price with better husbandry to drive others to provide better husbandry to their animals. So I don't know if that makes sense, but I think, yeah, you, as a marketing approach, you could say, hey, my animals are worth more because they're getting this, that, and the other. And I may feel that way, but I would rather provide them at a comparable price to someone that isn't, and say, hey, you're getting all this extra put into my animals. And it's not to drive others out. It's to try and spur them to do what I think is better for the animals.
Sure. No, I agree. Now that you say that, yeah, I take it back. No, I think, because again, I mean, I always say it's not about the money, and then I made a comment that makes it sound like it is actually about money, but
well, I know your motivation isn't that, but no, you're right. It's one or the other. There's additional value in an animal that's brought up in that manner, in my opinion. It's just, how do you want to utilize that value, in a good manner?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we're all always learning, and to start with like your foot in the door, as opposed to, I had one retic that when I got her, she had an attitude. She seemed, a little nervous, a little scared, defensive, whatever. So it took a little bit of work. She's super sweet now, but it took a little bit of work to help her settle in. So for the new keeper, right, for the first time retic keeper, for the first time snake keeper, for them to not have to go through that, not knowing how to, like, I already had, I don't know, 7 snakes or something, 8 snakes before I got that. And so I kind of understood the process of working with an animal. For people to not have to worry so much about that, I think you're starting with a foot in the door. So yeah, I appreciate that. And then you said that you wanted to share how your animals are kept for the sake of transparency, and I've never really thought about transparency as a thing until more recently, and I don't even want to get into why. Everyone here probably knows why.
Yeah.
But it's sort of spurred this kind of movement for transparency, and you're seeing a lot of people showing, some of them are showing years worth of photographs going back, 10, 15 years, 20 years back of animals, how they kept it, how they're keeping, all this stuff. And some people are walking into the room and just videotaping it. And, yeah, I don't know. He said my mic's messed up. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. It's got a little gravel to it or something.
Huh. What do you know, man? We moved over to YouTube to get away from that audio issue, and
it's definitely better, but still not great.
Yeah, we'll figure it out, man. We're not professionals.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I just like, hopefully you can hear me okay. I just like the idea of transparency, of trying to do better husbandry wise, trying to do better as a community of people, both for the animals and for each other. So that's something that I'm very firmly stand behind. I think people doing that, and the more people doing it, I think is a good thing for sure.
I'm with you.
So you don't know, I'm under 10%. So I don't know how much longer I'll be tuned in.
We'll take all that 10% you got, though, Russ.
Yeah, 10% of something's better than 0%.
I tried.
Nothing or whatever.
Heck yeah.
I tried getting it all charged up, but things are not working well. It just doesn't want to charge.
I mean, I was trying to charge mine too, but I've been busy, so it is what it is.
Oh.
We move over to YouTube to try and avoid the issues with Instagram. Our phones are still dying. Our mics aren't working.
Well, fellas, I have to say, and I'm putting myself in this too, the common denominator seems to be the three of us.
Yeah. So on that note, we're just going to end this. I'll delete it, and we'll just stop doing this because apparently I suck. So.
I mean, usually I'm at home and I could plug my phone in, but we're running off of battery packs and shit right now, so not.
Yeah, no, I get it, man. So I'm curious, Jordan, with the enclosures that you have 2 stacks set up that you made in your house, right?
Yep.
Did you move all of your animals into your own enclosures?
All but 2 are in them, and all but 3. One, the male's still in quarantine, so he's not, but he'll go in one. And then sure. Mila, let's see here, Mila, it's all backwards. She's in her 8-foot. So just because she's already got a bigger enclosure is why she's not moved. And then Miss Piggy's in the other room, and she's in the same boat. She's in a 6-foot enclosure.
So pretty much all of your animals are in enclosures that you made, and you're going to be making larger enclosures. So I'm guessing once you have those larger enclosures, you'll move the rest of the animals into them, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's got to be really awesome.
Yeah.
We've talked about wanting to, in the future, get me and Russ get to be able to make enclosures. That has to be really, really cool to design and build enclosures and then put your animals in them. And now that you have babies, you're going to be raising babies. You can put babies in enclosures you build.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, it's almost like a self-sustaining thing where the only thing now you just need to learn how to make like heat panels and lights, and you don't ever have to go through anyone but yourself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, that's kind of the motivation of what spurred the enclosures was I got impatient waiting for PVC lead times, that 6, 8, 10, 12, whatever months. I think it's gotten better since then, but I can crank these out. I can guarantee 45 days from order. Once the design's completed on the others, for any of them, it'd be that time or less. But yeah, I got impatient. If I can't find something that I like for what I perceive my needs to be, I generally try and find a way to make it myself, and that's what the enclosures are a product of. So I like the way Garrett had his set up, and the idea of an arboreal playground was taken from him. And so, it goes back to learn from everybody, right? Like pick little things here and there. Oh, I like the way your heat is set up. So it can be something really small. Anything, just puzzle piece it all together for what works best for you. That's what I tried to do. So, and I'm not saying it's perfect, but for me and my animals, it's working wonderful for the first almost 2 months now.
So down the line, Jordan, I know right now you're basically building enclosures, for larger snakes, but are you going to look at maybe doing like some 2x2 side by side?
Possibly. The biggest thing is the way that these are manufactured and the cost of materials is there's a lot in the labor. So I don't know if I can be cost effective with a smaller one. When you go from a 5-stack to a 4-stack, it doesn't drop the cost 20%. It's not directly incremental to the size necessarily. So I can look into it, but I don't know how competitive I could be. Now, that being said, if people want them, yeah, I'll make them. They'll last forever. That's one perk of it, So it's definitely possible. I mean, anything's possible. I can effectively work with our design team and make, for the most part, anything that's needed.
Dope.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's probably plenty of people out there who wouldn't care if they could stay competitive with a price and still do it just to make a money. So I think that's one of the things that stands out is you seem your passion and your integrity, like you're one of the good people, and we need more good people, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
definitely have a manufacturer's mindset, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got it.
For sure.
Yeah, Russ and I have had that discussion quite a bit in private, and I think we share that affinity on some level. So once it's there, it's there forever.
Yeah, you can't about it. It's
Yeah.
just there.
Hey, I'll be right back. I need to run to the bathroom real quick, but
Okay.
Take it over, Russ.
Oh no, I have to talk to Jordan. Jesus.
Russ, I know it's hot as heck there, but it looks beautiful. I'm glad I'm looking at
Don't
it.
get it wrong, man. Beautiful out. It's gorgeous. Yeah. You have what? Oh, okay. Yeah, it is really nice here. I don't know if I can, but I don't think I can flip this around. I guess I can go this way.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
This is our campsite.
Yeah, you guys got a whole setup going.
And then, yeah, our tents are back in that corner.
Nice.
But yeah, it's a nice little campground. We've been coming here for 2 years now, and it's pretty dope. You know, they were going to a different one about half an hour away.
Fucking eat.
Yeah, I don't need to eat right now.
Okay, but it's human and it's hot. Shut up and eat. Hi, snake people.
Anyway,
it's good to have people care about you.
Yeah, she does. She's annoying sometimes, though. They all are. Don't look at me like that. Yeah, they were going to a different one. They've been going to almost their whole lives, and they started having issues with it. So we started looking for other places to go and shopped around. You know, it's mostly my girl's family, right? I had Landon here earlier, but I had to take him back to his mom's, and all my family is not here.
Right.
I have no one left here, so it's nice to be able to come and have like a family weekend because I don't get that often.
Right.
But yeah, it's a nice place. They do have a lot of stuff to do. They're constantly redoing it. They just redid the mini golf course, so there's a whole new set of 18 holes to play. Tonight there's a little rave. They got a little rave going on. DJs, and, 4th of July colors, shit.
Oh yeah.
The pool is dope because the kids' pool is like the best kids' pool you could ever hope for. Like I'm talking, the 14-year-olds want to go play in the kids' pool. It's that good.
I don't know what I missed, but the last comment says "Eat Russ," and I'm just wondering who the hell is eating Russ.
No, I'm supposed to eat my dinner, but I'm not hungry.
Oh. Okay, so nobody's eating Russ. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to catch up. Yeah, so I think that I think you're doing really awesome things. Your head's in the right place, and like it's inspiring. And I just hope that I know a few people who I think are really trying to make changes, both in their own world and the people around them, and I just hope that catches on more. Again, I don't want to talk about, like, I've talked too much about all the stuff that's gone on this year, but there's been enough negative stuff that it's really highlighting the people who are doing things right. So I think this is like the perfect time for you to be where you are doing what you're doing, because I feel like people's eyes are open a little bit. They're paying attention to more that's going on, and it's a good thing. We need to make changes, and like I mentioned, volunteering at the US Arc booth, and I mean, supporting US Arc is one part of it, right? But the other part is just doing better ourselves, trying not to give them more issues to have to try and fight for, to help us.
Yep. If you want things to be better, you have to do better.
Yeah.
What? Crazy.
That's no fun.
Blasphemy, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Do you want to give like a sneak peek on some babies? Maybe.
Yeah, we could probably do that.
I mean,
But
you don't
before we
have
get
to.
far, what are you
What's that?
sipping over?
I got just a little Woodford Reserve.
Okay.
Just a little Woodford Reserve, little taster. So yeah, I'm trying to think if I should bring, because I split my lights up because Adler got me all on point with lighting, so he'll probably be upset if I do his lighting disservice, but he'll live.
I just have to say, man, you mentioned Woodford Reserve. That sure does sound good, man. But I've been sober for 2 weeks now, so let's go me. But dang, that sure sounds good.
I try and stay away. I really enjoy whiskey, but I really don't drink it very often at all, just because it can be a slippery slope. So I know myself and try and not get too wild with it, basically.
Yeah. No, it definitely can be.
All right, everybody, please ignore my room. Everything is backwards. I'm really messed up on this.
As much as I like drinking, I mean, I had to stop. So,
Right.
unfortunately, but well, I guess it's not unfortunate. It's only unfortunate because I want the drink. But
Right.
oh, I think Russ's phone died.
Oh, we lost him. Of course, now that we got babies.
We got a
I think
question
that's the best
for
I can
you,
do for now.
but
What's that say, Christina?
yeah, she said
About your vetting process for potential buyers. Vetting process, not honed in perfectly yet, but the plan is, I'd like to speak to people on the phone. I'd like to know what what they have for the animal to start, what they're going to do for the animal as it grows. The first animal that went to Katie that I mentioned earlier, I've been talking to her for over a year. Seen tons of pictures of her animals, her care, finding homes for animals, and I've seen the level of effort they put into all their animals, and I have no question that she'll give that animal a wonderful home. But it's just going to be kind of trying to get to know people and find the right animal for them that is really good quality. I'm going to do something might throw everything off, but I think it'll help. Hold on, just. All right, everyone.
appreciate that.
Let's see if we can get a little bit better.
And Jamie,
get the light behind us. See if that doesn't help any.
oh yeah, that looks better.
Still not the best. Normally I have a light sides, but gives you a little bit of an idea. This one's shed.
Dang, it's getting choppy again. Maybe that was a bad idea.
Oh.
Dang. Sure is
Another
gorgeous,
baby.
though.
I'll do one more and then I'll go out. And last.
Oh, they're so pretty. I like the little 2 dots on the head.
Yep. You can't hardly see. He or she's actually got 4. There's 2 up front that are bigger and 2 little bitty ones towards the back.
Oh, okay.
The problem is that this room and the other room, I didn't think about it, but they're concrete. So my router has a heck of a time getting through them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, you still got to see babies.
Yeah. A couple of them anyway. All right.
Have you been feeding them? Are you trying to wait for them all to shed?
I'm letting them all shed out. I'll get moved into into their baby tubs, which are right here, a whole stack of them. So I'll get them into those, and then I'll start offering food as they shed out. Excuse me. I don't know. We'll see. I may try and move some in here yet tonight, just to let them get going. And I don't know why I cannot figure out this backwards camera, but I am struggling.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll see. I've got feeders for them already here and ready. Just haven't tried to offer them, mainly because they're not separated yet, and I can tell some of them apart, but I'd like to keep really good track of who's had what.
Yeah. No, that makes sense for sure. Yeah. I mean, I've never had to feed like brand new hatched baby retics, but I mean, my retics will eat my shoes if
Right.
they're warm. So hopefully that all goes well. And then, it's cool to see somebody do their first ever pairing successfully, breeds the babies, all the babies hatch out. So I'd have to imagine that that's going to continue. Let's just imagine that success is going to continue through the whole process,
Man, I hope so. Yeah, I'm really cautiously optimistic.
Do you already have it in your mind some that you might want to keep out of all of them?
There's one that I can pick out of the group, and there's another one that I believe I can pick out, and they're very different from each other. But I think I've got my eye on two. I would really like. Well, I don't know. I go back and forth on male, female. Female would be better, but male would be able to do stuff sooner. I've got 7 females already, so
Yeah. You could throw a dude in there, throw a dude in the mix.
Yeah.
That's like the opposite of me. Most of mine are males.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, probably not going to breed any of them, but most of them are males. And I just find, actually, it's getting closer now. Let me think. Yeah, it might be about 50-50 now. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, since I knew I wanted to breed, I started with the females so that they had the time to grow and mature, and I wasn't trying to rush it. Plus, if I had bought, and I have a male that I bought with the main first group, and he's great, but if I had bought a bunch of males back then versus looking at them now, I can assure you I would have picked different males back then than I would now. So I'm glad I waited on that.
Yeah. And I mean, is that because you're like what you were hoping to accomplish breeding wise has changed, or just because you know more, or both?
No, more that I've learned a lot more. I had a much narrower scope of understanding with different breeders and options. So bringing from different collections, I think, is something that I didn't have as good a grasp on initially. And I think that doing that is key to get diversity and really try and, if you want to create your own line, you can't do it with all of someone else's animals,
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, having as much diversity as possible is probably a good move, I don't know. It seems like some animals tolerate inbreeding better than others.
Yeah.
I don't think that means that we should do it just because it might be okay. But then there's also the thing where we're kind of just stuck with what we have. So making wise decisions now is a good idea, before you've invested a lot of time and a lot of money and done a bunch of breedings, and now you realize that everything you have is half related or
right.
Well,
I have
it's
2
easy to do,
and so it's like I have to keep in mind that the offspring of those, even if morphs shook out right, that it would be something really great. I probably won't do that. I mean, I probably would be okay, but it's just something to think about, and knowing that they're all from different bloodlines just frankly makes it easier.
Yeah. Are you you have any interest in getting like a pure locality animal to add that into the mix? You know, as far, I mean, I guess to help with percentages, to help with new blood, whatever.
Yeah, maybe eventually. The only hesitation I have on pure localities is I almost feel bad removing them from those that want to do pure locality. I would, if I could find like a 93% or 87.5%, like a really high percentage that maybe has a morph or two that I like that's already in my project. For me, that would be, I think, more ideal because I get my percentages up. I accomplish the same size potential change. The percentages get influenced properly, but I'm also not taking a pure out of that potential breeding pool.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I've never really thought of it that way, but that I could see that.
Now, if the goal is people don't care about pure localities, then my stance would be different. But I know that there's such limited pools, like you mentioned, that like I'm hesitant to do that with what I have or what's out there that would work.
Yeah. I mean, there's no right answer. I don't think. There's so many ways you can do it. And at the end of the day, everything's only going to last so long before there is a potential for issue. I just think avoiding intentionally breeding related animals when you could breed unrelated animals probably isn't really all that necessary.
Yeah. Now, I think there's a place in certain instances where, trying to prove out a genetic or something. Sorry,
Sure.
Riley. Sorry, my dog is pushing a bowl around. But I think there's definitely time and place where it is appropriate. But it also, like you said, there's just too many factors to be able to say hard, fast, yes or no on every situation.
Yeah, no, definitely. You do what you can with what you have,
Yep.
So I mean, I don't know how long, in a perfect world we could continue breeding maybe certain localities. Like some localities you can't even breed pure locality. Well, you can, people probably do, but some of them it's probably a bad idea to breed them, period.
Yeah.
And I know it's the same in boas as well. It's like some of the localities of boa that I really like, they're so limited genetically that I don't want to, I have no problem owning it as a pet, but I would never want to breed it because I have no interest in, crossing boa localities, and I have no interest in boa morphs. So since I only am interested in pure localities, there's some that came from two animals. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And I think for some people who do breed unrelated animals because there's no other choice, maybe don't sell someone a pair.
Yeah.
Because then they're not going to continue breeding related animals,
Right.
Yeah. It's a bummer that we lost Russ.
I know. Poor Russ is always fighting that phone.
I know. And apparently mine sounds like I'm underwater, so maybe I need to buy a new phone on top of all
No, you're back to normal. It sounded good for quite a while now.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm tired. I'm like totally having brain farts mid-sentence.
You're good, man. I'm whipped too.
So with the enclosures, what's the plan as far as making them available if somebody were interested? Do you have a sort of a plan on how you're going to go about that?
My website's almost done, so I'll put them up on there for sale. The 5 stacks are for sale right now. I can take an order at any time and get them kicked out. The others are just waiting on the design elements to complete my approval, and those would be a little tougher because I don't have honed in pricing, but we could work it out. So it's just a matter of if people are interested, reach out to me and let me know. But I think getting them to Arlington, letting people get hands-on, getting this YouTube video up that really shows how they come apart and work. I think all of that will help a lot to get people to really understand why they're worth what they are, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that you can, make any of them taller or make it into one or remove the shelf, I think, there's already like a solid level of customizability with it. And then with adding the playground type setup, and it's definitely, I think, if I could get it into my house, I would get one. And I've told you that before, but my doorways are narrow and I don't have a way to do it. But I think for somebody who doesn't want to, who maybe wants something that looks different or something that's, new, like for me, I like new things. I get bored at the same thing. Like, my PVC enclosures are black PVC. Sometimes I wonder, dang, should I have gotten them white? But obviously white PVC is going to get dirty easier. It's going to get stained over time. And, but yeah, I just think that it's something to look into, man. If you guys if you want something cool like that, that's new, innovative, and it's all one piece. It's a really cool concept. Sorry, I'm trying to like read the chat too.
You're good. Well, and like you said, my PVC are all black too for the same reason. I didn't want them to get stained. I knew it would drive me crazy. But I like the idea of white because it's brighter and you can see your animals better with not much light at all. The powder coat cleans off. It's almost like a glass finish as far as how it feels. So that's why I went with the white. I knew I could do it and not have the stain issues that we were talking about with PVC.
Yeah, that would be a bummer, man. And I've seen some white cages that look pretty thrashed. And I only really know of one enclosure company that you can get something other than just black or white. So it's not really out there. It'd be kind of nice to look at something other than a black box. Yeah, Christina has a good point. So I'm exhausted and I lost my wingman, so now I'm confused. But I guess do you before we start wrapping it up, do you have anything that you want to throw out? Anything you want to say?
Well, I mean, my normal go-to is honestly thank you guys for having me and all the people in the chat. I mean, Chad, you and Russ and a whole lot of the people in there are family to me at this point. And I just have a blast talking to you guys and catching up, whether it's live, private and personal, whatever. So yeah. I'm just really, really grateful for everybody here. You guys are what make this fun and worthwhile, I'm going to do this stuff. Like I've said before, I'm going to do this for me no matter what. But it sure makes it a lot more fun to have people to talk about and celebrate it with, you guys getting up on YouTube. I did the same thing, got my first YouTube up. I'm excited to see us grow together because I think we're all working towards the best for the hobby and the community.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree completely. And it's nice to have support and someone to bounce questions and ideas off of. And we definitely have a good little core group of people that we do that with. So yeah, I appreciate you coming on, but yeah, I second that. I think it's really awesome to have that, and it's cool to watch everybody grow together. So, I don't know that I have any like pre-planned questions. I never really do this in like I never wanted this to be like a professional thing. For me, it was always just casually hanging out and talking about animals, but I guess,
and basically everything about me, so there's not a whole lot out there.
I guess that's what makes it hard when you're talking to, your friends. You're trying to pretend like you don't already know all the answers to it. But
right.
If anybody wants to get a hold of you, whether it's about enclosures, baby snakes, anything, what's the best way to do that?
The best way is Instagram, Heartland_reptiles. I'm on Facebook as well. I'll get it through Facebook. There's not as much content just because I'm not tech savvy and it doesn't transfer from Instagram to Facebook real well for me anyway. But starting the YouTube up, I check all of it. but Instagram's definitely the best way to get a hold of me at heartlandreptiles.com. And I think my cell phone, it should be on there, and my Facebook as well. So call, email, text. Text or email is going to be probably the best because I have a full-time job still. But yeah, I'd love to talk to anybody that wants to talk about snakes and enclosures. It doesn't even have to be that you're interested in buying. Even if you just have questions, I mean, Chad knows I'll talk to anybody until they don't want to listen anymore about this stuff. So
Yeah, and see, now you have no excuse because you got the Instagram, the Facebook, but then you got the email, the phone number. So
yeah,
you make yourself very easy to get a hold of. So
that's the goal. I was blessed coming in that I had some people really take care of me in a great way and really help me out, and they cared that I did well with my animals, and it made a huge impact on me. It made it a lot more fun, and if I can help provide the same thing, then I'm all in on it.
yeah, no, for sure. That's definitely a very valuable asset or whatever. Christina had a good question. What's the one thing in the reptile world that has you excited or most excited?
Right now, the baby in my other room. That's got me the most excited. No, the most exciting from my perspective probably is for me in Heartland is getting out and getting to the shows and starting to vend. I haven't ever been able to vend one. I'm really looking forward to that. I got to Tenley in March and I had a blast just meeting people. I didn't vend, I just visited. But it was so much fun to put faces and names and really get to talk in person. So I'm looking forward to that and really growing my friend group that I know personally versus just online. That's what I'm excited for.
I think the first like one or two shows I went because I wanted to look at animals, and every show since then I go because I want to talk to people.
Yeah.
The animals are awesome. I check out all the animals too, but I go because it's just really awesome to meet the people. Some of them are people I've talked to for some amount of time on the internet and have never met. So it's like my social hour.
Yeah. Well, I've got great friends that are in the ball python community. I have nothing to do with retics and all sorts of other stuff. And that's what's great about it is we all love similar stuff and we can all appreciate what one another are doing, which makes it more fun because at this point, I'm not going to get into ball pythons, but I can still appreciate it. And I still think there's some beautiful animals out there. So I like looking at new friends and what they're doing in other realms. I get to live vicariously through them.
So are you thinking about just vending shows for the enclosures or the snakes as well?
The first show will just be enclosures because I'll only have the one clutch and just dealing with moving all the enclosures, the potential, and like having to quarantine everything afterwards. I'm just going to focus on the enclosures for this one. Moving forward, the plan would be both enclosures and animals. Maybe even, have some of the animals in the enclosures so you can see literally how I set them up.
Yeah.
But just a combination of it. It's all, quote, Heartland Reptiles.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I don't really have. I never plan questions or whatever, but dude, it's been a long couple days, and I'm glad that I actually managed to start on time, and we actually managed to get it going. But I'm beat, man. But I really appreciate you jumping on. It's always a blast talking to you.
Hey man, it's my pleasure and honor to be your first YouTube guest, and I'm excited for you. I'm gonna text Russ and give him a little grief and give him my love because you guys are wonderful. I consider you both brothers, and I'm really honored to be here and excited to see you guys grow too.
Well, thank you, man. I know I feel the same, and I know he does too because he says it all the time. But he's not here to say it, so I'll talk for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate it, dude. It was really awesome to everyone who showed up to chat in the comment section and everything, and showed up to support any or all of us that were part of this. We appreciate that as well. Real quick, I mentioned it earlier, but we won't be doing a live next weekend because I'll be at Anaheim at the Super Show. The following weekend we will. So we'll try our best to advertise that ahead of time. But yeah, again, everybody, thank you for jumping in. Jordan, thank you.
Yep.
Have a good night, man.
All right. Love you guys. Thank you all.
All right, man. Love you too.